Hi everyone, it's FSketcher fashion drawing tutorials, and this is a lesson dedicated to body drawing and skin coloring. So I've been asked many times about dimensions that I'm using and how I draw these fashion figures, so let's start. So first you draw a head with dimensions 2.5 to 1.5 centimeters, and I have separate tutorial, just previous part of this series, where I explain in details how to draw a face, so here I'm skipping this part. So then let's write distance on one side and width on another side. So 1.5 centimeters down from the chin we have shoulders. 4.5 centimeters down from the chin we have waist, and 7 centimeters down from the same starting point is the hips. So I just made those points 1.5, 4.5 and 7 centimeters down and made these horizontal lines. So since she's standing straight, her spine is going to be just a vertical line. But usually when shoulders and hips are at different angles, the spine is curved because it should intersect all these lines at right angle, 90 degrees. I'll show it later when we draw different pose. So once you have the central line, let's show her neck. I just draw the line that starts between her jaw and chin. So the shoulder line, waistline, hip line. So what's the width? 3.6, 1.6, and 3.6 respectively. So I divide these numbers by 2 and just allocate them on both sides. I follow the line of her neck, and as I pass the center, I turn to that shoulder point and I go below it. And it's as curved as part of the circle. Really looks good when it's really curved inwards. So next I draw the shoulders just like the cut corner of the paper. So and then I just continue the vertical line. Next we need to locate armpits. For that I count 1 centimeter down from the shoulder line and make one more parallel line. And then I count from the side like around 6 millimeters. So it's allowance for your arms because we need some arms width, right? So, and as a result, I get those dots that are actually armpits. Our waist, if you remember, is 1.6 and our hips, just like shoulders, 3.6 centimeters. So okay, now I connect armpits with the waist. You see, my lines are not completely straight, they are curved to outwards. You know, this is chest and hips, they're more curved. So, and to draw breasts, you just draw circles of any size that you want, just below the armpit line. And then you can add armpits and breasts with this S-like shape, like flat S. So next, around 5 millimeters down, I don't count, just in the center we have the crotch. And let's continue this central line, so we draw both body parts symmetrically. 6 centimeters down from the hip line, we have knees. And I draw such as circles a bit on the distance. The distance between them is like one circle. And then both halves of the hips I connect with centers of those circles. So it's like bones. Next, from the waist until the crotch, I draw this V shape. And now if you continue this line, keep it widening the hip, and then as you pass the center, make it more narrow. So it goes outwards and then inwards. let's draw these lines on both sides of those circles. So I continue this line, and then I come closer to the bone, and I connect with this inner knee line. So next, outlining the hips. On the top is more rounded, closer to the knees is very flat. So here, the line that is inside is a bit closer to the circle than the line that I drew outside, and it's more curved. So basically what we need to get a small gap under her crotch and above her knees. So this is the overall shape. Hips are curved, and from the knees till the hips, the line is more flat. So 8 centimeters down from the knees, we have ankles. I draw smaller circles that are a bit closer, and I connect knees with the ankles with a little bit curved lines, not absolutely straight. And if it's really hard, you can draw straight lines. Just it looks a little bit more natural if it's a bit curved. And I make it a bit prominent on the outside in the upper half. So as you pass the center again, you come closer to the ankle, to the bone. So you really need to get thin ankles. Below the knee, I make this wave in order to get one more gap under the knee. And then I make it a bit thicker to show the calves. And then as I pass the center, again, I come closer to the bone. So I hope you can just follow what I'm doing, because my instructions might sound a bit fake. So, and then we attach her feet. So inner line is not that much sloped, and outer line is sloped towards slope to outside. So next, her arms in total 7 centimeters, which means 3.5 till the elbow and 3.5 till the wrist. So in total 7 centimeters. So as you can see, I change a little bit the direction from the elbow, but not too much. So, well, basically you just make the arm a bit thinner just above the elbow, so to show that elbow part is wide. And the outer line here is almost the same direction as the outer line of the whole arm, and inner one comes closer to the bone. So you see, distance is different. So next, how to draw hands. This is very common position. You just continue. So if it's the right side hand, then you continue line 1 centimeter. You draw another line next to it, shorter, and you draw this arc. Then you add one more vertical line, and line that is coming a bit closer to the first one. And then you close it with one more like stick. And then you just finish drawing fingers and add some back fingers. So just do it step by step. And then you'll get used to it. It's very common pose for fashion illustrations, like common gesture. On the side, I will just draw a little bit different. In a bit different way, I will show more of the fingers, so changing the angle. Forehead has the length of the nose, so the same distance as from nose line till the middle of the eyebrows. And I just drew a basic hairstyle. Let's draw some underwear, so when we color skin, we don't need to color everything. Once you finish drawing lingerie, please outline everything with a fine line pen. At this point, you can fix certain mistakes that you made in your pencil drafts. For her skin, I'm using Patty color, and first I'm showing all the shadows on her face. In face drawing tutorial, I explain with more details shading on her face. So it's like nose bridge, eyelids, cheekbones, under her chin, and usually when some parts have really dark shadows, I color there several times. So here are collarbones, jugular points, some bones on the chest. Then I show the shape of the breasts, leaving some highlights. Then shoulders, usually general outline. I always do it like every part. So then abs, like sides of the arms. Then I show that hole in the inner part of the elbow, and then so for your legs, try to make those shadow area wider, especially if the part of the body is white. Then you make shadows wider too. So, because then you will get that shiny legs effect. If you color just the outline, it will still look quite flat. So next, once I'm satisfied with my shadows, I color everything with one solid layer of marker, including shadows and uncolored area. Don't skip the shadows, otherwise you will not get the effect that we need, because markers, when you layer them, they become darker. That's why we need shadowed areas to have several layers of marker. So now I'm adding some extra shadows, just making some contouring and where shadows become a bit too light, and I want to add some contrast. Here, showing your abs again. Usually second layer of shadows after the solid color. I make it thinner, just coloring less right now. On the sides. So with a purple pencil, I'm showing details and dark shadows. Now with white ink gel pen, I'm showing highlights and just adding some glitter on her face. Extra shadows. Here and there, more of the highlights. So don't push on your pencil, just scratch with it on the paper. I'm hardly touching, and for that it's preferably to use watercolor pencils because they are really dry in comparison with oil pencils, and they work really well for these extra shadows. And I use purple pencil for light skin, and for dark or tan skin I use dark brown pencil. So here's our body. So this is patty color. And I also use satin, which is a bit more yellow. This one is more like pinkish. So there is also ivory for very, very light skin, also a bit yellowish. Caramel and tan I use for dark skin. And almond is close to patty, but a bit lighter. So let's change a fashion pose, and I will use technique that I utilize to redraw a fashion pose that I find maybe on different editorial photography, or sometimes I strike a pose myself, take photo of it, and then try to repeat it on a sketch. So I need the same distances for 3 lines, 1.5, 4.5, and 7 centimeters for shoulder, waist, and hips line. But now I need to transfer the angle. So I try to put this image parallelly to my drawing. I'm transferring the angle of these lines. Next, I need to draw the spine, and as she's moving, her spine is not straight, so it should be a curve starting from her chin that intersects all these 3 lines at 90 degrees. So it's perpendicular to all 3 lines. So I hope you know this term and you will get the idea. So if you make straight line, it will not intersect 3 lines at 90 degrees, so you continuously need to turn. In order to check yourself, compare the location of the crotch. So for our model, it's under her chin on the same level, and we got the same result. Her crotch is just below her chin. So, and next, as I have a spine, I can calculate these numbers: 3.6 for shoulders, 1.6 for waist, and 3.6 for hips, the width, right? And I just draw exactly in the same way as I did before. 1 centimeter down, I have the armpits and everything. So I just find all these points and connect them. Here is really important. First step is drawing 3 main lines at correct angle. And then step number 2, draw a spine central line that intersects all of them at 90 degrees. And then you just can draw the bodies based on that, as we do right now. So next we need to locate your knees and your ankles. So she doesn't look like she's falling or the pose is completely wrong. So this first, second, third, and fourth point, let's find them one by one. So first, knee. Let's check at which level it's located. So I make a straight line parallel to the edge of the photograph. So corner of your mouse on the left side. So I just make a line on the same line, perpendicular one, parallel to the edge of my paper. And I count 6 centimeters from her hips to that line, and where it intersects, I have my knee. So I found it. So let's find in relation to her upper body where her other knee is. It's the same as the right side of her neck. So I make just a random line. I mean, it's not random, but just... And I count 6 centimeters from her hip, and I found another knee. So this lets me draw her upper part of legs. So I draw it in the same way, but here you can use as a reference your photograph, because here she's moving, and the tension of her muscles is different, and shapes will be a bit different than when she's standing like straight. Okay, so next just let me fix a little bit her hips. They're more rounded on the left side and a bit flat on the right side. So next, our third element is her ankle, and it's just below her chin, at the same level as her chin. And so, you know, very often it's like that because they're walking on one straight line. And usually when I draw this pose, it's just automatically draw her ankle at that level. So I found it 8 centimeters down, ankle in the center, and I just add her feet. You can draw it a bit shorter than what we did before because she's wearing flat shoes. And her other ankle is just below the center of the front leg. And the bone is a bit curved, so I drew first the bone and then added flesh. And add her foot. Her arms are quite parallel to her body. So, and just regular position of her hands. Drawing your hands just in the same way as I explained in the previous, like when we drew previous figure. So now I'm using caramel color for dark skin, and first again I'm showing the shadows, coloring in very similar way as I did before. It's just different skin tone. So certain shadows I color several times if they are darker than ones that I showed too. And her legs, again, shadows are quite wide, almost 2/3 of her legs. So her back leg is a bit darker. It's not getting top lighting and it gets less of front light. And once I'm happy with my shadows, I color everything, shadows and uncolored area. So I get this beautiful three-dimensional body. Okay, so with a dark brown pencil, I'm showing the details, her nose, adding extra shadows at the base of her cheekbones, under her chin. So don't overdo so it doesn't look dirty. Adding highlights with white ink gel pen and adding some glitter. So extra shadows and showing jugular point, collarbones, and showing her breasts with the pencil. With warm grade 3 adding shadows from her flounces and under her chin. Then adding extra shadows with the same caramel color, but I'm making shadow area a bit thinner and just on the sides. Because with the darker colors it's a bit difficult to work because when you add extra layer, they look much darker than previous layer. So in order not to get too much of contrast. I'm using warm gray one for your panties, just on the sides, made the tiny wrinkle. And with petrol blue, I'm showing that pattern like paint, like brush strokes. And then I'm going to use just black color for your hair. I will have extra tutorial on hair, so I'm not focusing on it right now. I'm going just to color with black the upper part of your swimwear. So we just repeated the pose. So here, the 3 steps. First, 3 lines at the right angle. Number 2, correct central line, perpendicular to those 3 lines. And number 3, finding correctly knees and ankles. And just drawing the lower part of the body. That's it. So this is new dimensions of the body. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Subscribe to FSketcher channel for more tutorials. Support FSketcher on Patreon for exclusive tutorials. Share your questions and suggestions. And see you next tutorial.